Whenever a high-intensity war breaks out, commentary around the world falls into a predictable trap. You see it across news headlines, social media threads, and mainstream defense analyses. It's what military analysts call the shopping list fallacy. We tally up the weapons like cards in a game of top trumps. Side A has 50 Su-35s and 20 S-400 batteries. Side B has 40 F-16s and 10 Patriot systems. Therefore, Side A will dominate the sky. If you take away only one lesson from today's video, let it be this: that is not how air warfare works. It has never been how air warfare works. Collecting weapon inventories and matching them up on paper doesn't explain who wins an air war. It misinforms. Air power is not a static collection of glossy hardware brochures. It is a dynamic, highly technical, four-dimensional system of systems. Today on Whispers of Battle, drawing on deep operational history and real-world case studies from Operation Sindoor and the Russia-Ukraine war, we are tearing up the shopping list. We are answering the ultimate operational question: how do you actually win an air war? To understand how an air war is won or lost, we must start with a fundamental truth that defense contractors rarely put on promotional posters. Communications and command systems are the absolute essence of air warfare. An integrated air defense system, an IADS, might boast the most advanced long-range radar-guided surface-to-air missiles on Earth. But if you sever its tactical data links, jam its networks, or cause paralysis at the central command node, what are you left with? You aren't left with an integrated defense network. You are left with isolated blind pockets of equipment waiting to be systematically hunted down. Take Operation Sindoor, the high-intensity 2025 clash between India and Pakistan. On paper, both sides fielded formidable Western, Russian and Chinese air defense hardware. But what decided the opening strikes wasn't missile speed. It was reaction time and C2 network coordination. When Indian strike formations launched long-range precision standoff weapons like Scalp and air-launched BrahMos missiles, Pakistani air defenses experienced a critical paralysis. The command chain hesitated. For roughly 15 to 30 minutes during the initial strikes on terror infrastructure and air bases, the Pakistani integrated network failed to generate a synchronized response. Without instant automated target handoffs from central sector command to firing batteries, even high-end systems sit idle. A surface-to-air missile launcher that cannot receive real-time target data from an airborne or ground-based early warning radar must turn on its own organic radar to search the skies. And the moment it turns that search radar on, it signs its own death warrant. This brings us to the second pillar of air warfare: the electromagnetic spectrum and EMCON, emission control. In modern air combat, there is a golden rule: to emit is to be pinpointed. To be pinpointed is to be targeted. To be targeted is to die. When a ground radar transmits high-powered radio waves to search for an incoming jet, it acts like a man lighting a flashlight in a pitch-black cavern. Yes, he might see a few feet in front of him, but everyone else in the cavern instantly sees exactly where he is standing. Look at the skies over Ukraine. In February 2022, many analysts predicted Russia's aerospace forces, VKS, would achieve total air supremacy within days. They failed to do so largely because of Ukrainian emission control and radar mobility. Instead of leaving their massive S-300 and Buk M1 radars radiating continuously, which would have allowed Russian intelligence aircraft to locate them for anti-radiation missile strikes, Ukrainian air defenders practiced radical EMCON. They kept their radars off, received target cues passively from Allied intelligence and mobile observers, turned their radars on for mere seconds to fire an interceptor, and immediately packed up and relocated before Russian forces could hit back. We saw the flip side of spectrum warfare in Operation Sindoor. India deployed its long-range S-400 batteries backed by strict network-centric management. By using passive tracking data from AEW&C platforms, an Indian S-400 battery executed a historic ultra-long-range intercept, hitting a Pakistani airborne early warning aircraft at an unprecedented standoff range of around 300 kilometers. The battery didn't betray its location with continuous broad-spectrum radiation. It relied on integrated data feeds until the final seconds of engagement. Winning an air war isn't about having the loudest radar. It's about staying silent until the lethal moment. If you read weapon brochures published by aerospace manufacturers, you'll see impressive figures. System X has a range of 400 kilometers, or Missile Y reaches speeds of Mach 6. In the academic world of air power studies, we treat these brochure numbers with immense skepticism. Why? Because air warfare takes place in 4 dimensions, 3 spatial dimensions plus time, and it is bound by the uncompromising physics of the natural world. Consider the radar horizon. Because the Earth is curved, a ground-based radar on flat terrain cannot see through the planet. An incoming cruise missile or jet flying low at 50 meters altitude will remain hidden beneath the radar horizon until it is roughly 30 to 40 kilometers away, regardless of whether the radar boasts a theoretical range of 400 kilometers. This physical reality reshaped both recent conflicts. In Ukraine, both Russian and Ukrainian pilots were forced to fly low, hugged against the ground at 100 feet, to stay under the long-range radar coverage of systems like the S-400 and Patriot. But flying low puts you right into the range of thousands of shoulder-fired manpads, like Stinger or Eagler, creating a brutal tactical stalemate where neither side could gain high-altitude dominance. During Operation Sindoor, Indian strike flights utilized low-altitude, terrain-masking pop-up maneuvers, penetrating low along mountain valleys before popping up to deliver precision munitions on targets like Bahawalpur before diving back under the radar horizon. When target altitude drops and evasion begins, a missile's dynamic energy bleeds off rapidly. The advertised 150-kilometer range evaporates into a 30-kilometer combat engagement envelope. Now we arrive at the defining operational challenge of contemporary air warfare: economic asymmetry and attrition. Historically, air dominance meant sweeping enemy fighters from the sky and bombing industrial centers. But today, air warfare has evolved into a grinding war of mathematical attrition. Look at Russia's continuous long-range strike campaigns against Ukrainian infrastructure. Russia launches swarms of Shahed 136 one-way attack drones, costing roughly $20,000 to $40,000 each. If Ukraine is forced to shoot down a $20,000 drone using a $2 million to $4 million Patriot or NASAMS interceptor, the arithmetic of defense collapses. The attacker spends $3 million to force the defender to spend $200 million in non-replaceable missile inventory. We saw this exact dynamic play out during the retaliatory phases of Operation Sindoor. Following initial Indian strikes, Pakistan launched waves of over 300 loitering munitions, decoys and drones targeting Indian airbases and S-400 positions. The goal wasn't just to inflict physical damage, it was to saturate the radar displays and deplete high-value missile magazines. To survive this, modern militaries must deploy a layered air defense architecture: outer-tier, high-altitude interceptors, S-400, Patriot, reserved strictly for high-value targets like manned jets, ballistic missiles, and command platforms. Middle-tier, medium-range SAMs, Akash, NASAMS, Buk, for cruise missiles and strike fighters. Inner-tier, low-cost point defenses, anti-aircraft guns, mobile truck-mounted searchlight teams, FPV drones, and electronic warfare jammers to kill low-cost drones without wasting multi-million-dollar interceptors. So how does an attacking air force overcome a sophisticated, layered air defense network? The answer lies in SEED, suppression of enemy air defenses, and DEAD, destruction of enemy air defenses. Suppression doesn't always mean blowing up every launcher. If your electronic warfare platforms can blind the enemy's sensors or disrupt their communications so they cannot fire effectively, you have achieved suppression. Destruction, however, is permanent, and today, it is executed by hunter-killer drone teams. In Operation Sindoor, India demonstrated modern DEAD doctrine using loitering munitions like the IAI Harop and Warmate drones. These autonomous hunter-killers hovered over Pakistani defense sectors. If a Pakistani air defense radar turned on to track incoming strike jets, the passive sensors on the Harop picked up the radar's electromagnetic signature and dove directly into the radar dish at 200 knots. By destroying the primary search and tracking radars, the strike packages dismantled the integrated defense network from the top down. In Ukraine, the integration of American AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missiles onto Ukrainian MiG-29s created a similar operational dilemma for Russian radar operators. Turn off your radar and let the airstrike through, or keep it on and risk an incoming radiation homing missile. When we evaluate the air battles over Ukraine or the intense days of Operation Sindoor, the core lesson of modern air power becomes unmistakable. Air wars are not won by the nation with the flashy fighter jets on airshow displays or the longest theoretical missile specs on paper. Air wars are won by the side that masters resilient, real-time command and control networks, electromagnetic discipline and emission control, an accurate understanding of 4D combat physics over brochure claims, layered defenses that protect high-cost stockpiles against low-cost saturation, aggressive hunter-killer SEAD dead doctrines. The next time you see headlines breaking down an air war as a simple tally of jets and missile batteries, remember, you are looking at a shopping list, not a strategy. True air power is networked, disciplined, and relentless, and that is how an air war is won. Thank you for joining us today on Whispers of Battle. If you enjoyed this deep dive into air warfare doctrine, hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Which recent conflict or air power doctrine should we analyze next? Until next time, keep studying the history behind the headlines.